Okay, so we're going to start with the sketch plane cube. It's in Unit 1 under Measurement on the LMS. And the activity looks like this. Basically, they're just giving you practice with general dimensioning and 2D and 3D sketch tools in Inventor. And they're going to give you practice with extruding and adding and extruding and cutting. So they give you this to work with, and our goal is this. So we'll start just by making a square and turning it into a cube. So in Inventor, we will open a new standard IPT. You can double click this, or you can click it once and select Create. And I like to have my screen in presentation view. So that's if you go to Tools, Application Options, and you select the Colors tab. You can change this from gradient to one color, and usually presentation or high contrast are the best backgrounds to have. This way you can see the object lines easily, and you can also see dimension lines fairly easily. We'll go back to 3D model, create a sketch on the XY plane. I'm going to click and hold my mouse wheel down. I'm going to work in the positive quadrant up here. I'll draw my 2-point rectangle, and I'm not going to take too much care as to what the dimensions are, because we're just going to add the dimensions by selecting dimension. And if I look over here, I notice that from this edge to the center, it's an inch. So I'm going to assume that I multiply that by 2, and I get 2 inches here, and the same thing for the height. It's going to be 2 by 2. So I'll select this once and let go. Don't hold down on the dimension. Select again to put it down, 2 enter, and that happens sometimes, so we just zoom out and pan down, and do the same thing for the height. Click on the line once, move your mouse out, click again to set the dimension down, 2 enter. Now I'll finish the sketch, zoom out, pan over, select extrude, and I'm going to always want to extrude away from myself. That makes the view that we drew, the sketch that we drew, keeps it as our front face. If we extrude towards us, it becomes the back face or side, and that can be confusing later on. When we get into more complicated parts. Change this to 2 inches, 2 enter. Go back and check our sketch plane cube. It looks like they're drawing a circle here first, and they're going to extrude that out. And I can see that the circle is 1 inch in diameter. It's located directly in the center of the square. So I'll put a sketch on this face. You'll notice that it turns towards us. Grab my center point circle. You'll see these dotted lines are there to help you find where the midpoint of this line is. Other dotted line there. So right there, if I click my mouse, that's going to make the center of the circle directly in the middle of the square. I'll click once and then let go and then drag the mouse out. Again, don't have to be exact here because we're just going to dimension it on our own, which is going to be 1 inch. You notice that it moves. Sometimes that happens. So I have to add dimensions from the center to the side, 1 inch, and from the center to the top, 1 inch. Sometimes it'll stay, sometimes it'll move. You'll find that that's going to happen with the students as well. Finish the sketch. We want to extrude. You have to select the profile that you want to extrude, because in this case there are 2 profiles now. When we first did our extrusion, there was only 1 square. That's the only thing that could have been extruded into our cube. In this case, I have this portion that I could extrude, and I have this portion I could extrude it. And obviously I want to extrude the circle. The question is, how far does it come out? It doesn't really tell you. I always do a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch. So what you can do is type in a 1/4 inch and see what it does. And if you like it, use it. If you want to tell your kids to do a 1/2 inch, you can do a 1/2 inch. I'll leave it at a 1/2 inch and select OK. We'll make another sketch on the right side, and our square is over there. It's a 1 inch by 1 inch square, and you notice it gives you a 1/2 inch dimension here and here to give you a location of the corner of this rectangle. Now the way that they want you to do it would be to use a 2-point rectangle and start drawing it anywhere in here. Use your dimension tool. You want a dimension from here to here. You want that to be 0.5. And then from this line to this line, 0.5 again. Now I could do the same thing from here to here, or I could dimension this once as an inch. This is where you can get into a conversation about how doing this versus this isn't any different. It's just they're both right. It's just different ways of doing it. Now I can click Finish Sketch up here, or I can right click and select Finish Sketch. I can extrude, and again select the appropriate profile. It's going to remember that you had a 1/2 inch before, and we want to extrude out. In the last one, we're going to create a 2D sketch in the top view, and we're going to use a center point this time. And notice it's right in the middle, and it stayed. I'm going to dimension it anyways as an inch. That's good. And that's good. Right click, Finish Sketch. And this time we're not going to extrude, we're going to use the hole feature. And you notice it's going to automatically select the hole for us. We want to set the diameter at 1 inch. And this here is showing us that it's going to go all the way through. You'll notice it says termination through all. And that's going to be good. We'll click OK. And that's just a basic first block that will take students roughly 45 minutes to, if you have 45-minute periods, you know, it may take them one 45-minute period. It may take them 2 of those periods to get this done.